Round branch on elbow, drawing number 8. We're going to lay this elbow out very similar or exactly the same to drawing number 7. A little bit different dimensions on this one, coming off the dimensions. So it starts on page 23 here, gives you a step-by-step on the way through. And again, just finishing up page 29, the round branch here. So all the dimensions, just be careful, this is a 40 mil diameter for this branch. I know there was a lot of 50s, so don't make that a 50. Make sure that's a 40. You got a 45, and then an 80 for a height, 115. So you're 70 diameter for this elbow here, and then your height just comes right off of center. So as the center comes up, hits the sloping side, comes right off of here, and this center actually lines right up the center there as well. Bit of a funny way they do this one. We're just doing the round branch, so we're not doing the pattern for the elbow, so we've already done that. So there is a step-by-step on the way through. We do not need to number this 1 through 12. 1 through 7 is going to be just fine because it's not off center. If it was off center, then yeah, we'd have to go to 12, but it's on center, so we'll have to worry about that. The projection line's coming down. A little bit funny how they do this, but it works. That's how it's done. It's very similar to how we did drawing number 4. When you have the branch here, you got a round body, round branch coming on, and this one was on a 45. So just the way this is done, this could have been drawn this way as well. So instead of doing it like this in the book, we really could have just taken that and drawn that like that. So take this, rotate it down, because we're really just doing a branch for this over here. So sometimes you can think about something that's a little more simple than, trying to reduce the layout, right? So this is a lot of layout, a lot of parallel lines, a lot of extra work. So just taking that cylinder, bringing it down to something like this, and then there's your branch. So very similar to number 4. So anyway, okay, we'll get going at this. And we'll do it the same as the book there. So we'll just work our way through. Okay, so this is all laid out. I just went 10 millimeters up here to the baseline, 10 millimeters, and I'm 50 millimeters in. Okay, so I'll have enough room over here, and we're just gonna do our branch coming up here. So just up we go from that. These ones here, I got 20 mils in between them. You got lots of room over here, lots of room for this drawing. And it's not going to be very tall for the pattern. It's only going to be 125. It's just the 40 times pi. So, okay, double check to make sure all your heights are correct. Your 45, 22 and a half. You can see how this center lines up on center, goes right through, lines up to the center of this branch because it's on center. The height of this over here does not matter whatsoever. It doesn't matter if this is higher or lower because it's just the element lines coming down, hitting, coming over and down and matching through that one. So the height of this does not matter, but the length of this does. So it does give you a length in the drawing, and it's 50 millimeters from here. Okay, so making, or even here. So this is exactly the same. This would be a square box, so 80 by 80 by 80. So 50 from here to here is the same thing as from here out to there. Okay, let's get drawing here. The numbers here, I guess, what we'll do, let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, and they're actually symmetrical. Let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, anyway, we'll get drawing here. The numbering gets a little confusing sometimes. Let's just bring these down. Again, just dividing that half circle up into our standard 6. We divide all circles into 12. It's just the easier geometry way of doing that. And we can bring these down. As you can see, this is going to be very tight. You're almost impossible. There's not much of a difference in height in these lines. Really close together. And then bringing those down over here as well. As I was saying, real tough with the amount of lines in here and the error that can happen going from one surface to another surface, projecting the lines over. We're just gonna cure inaccuracy, but anyway, we got that. Let's bring these ones over. Now I only need to go to the furthest line here. Get that one. Okay, so just coming through, sometimes the easiest way to do this, even instead of the numbering, is that's obviously the top, number 4 here, and then as we're coming down, basically what we're going to do is we're going to go down 1 and over 1. So for this one here, down 1 over 1 here, and then this is your furthest one, right? So when it comes to these little graph patterns, sometimes that's the easiest thing to do instead of getting all caught up on the numbering. Down 1 over 1, and then 1 over here. So this is number 4 here, obviously. And then as that, depends how you flick this down, you rotate it over. So number 1 we'll put down below. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, up like that. There's your 7. There's your 1, 1. Let's put these on this side. There's your 7, 6. So that works there. Okay. You don't even have to number these sometimes. Like I said, people get a little tangled up on the numbering and stuff, but because you're flipping views, sometimes the easiest thing to do is take a piece of paper, cut it out, put some numbers on it, and then you can fold it, rotate it, and flip it out. Sometimes, because you're just doing orthographic projection. Okay, so let's do the pattern here. So we're coming up from the end of this branch, right there. It is 40 millimeters. 40 times pi. 125, 126. So that's all we need for there. So we just need a line 126. So I'm just going to come down 10, 20 mils. Make a mark. I'm going to come down to 126 here. Make a mark. Don't have to be any longer than this here. There we go. We need to divide this up into equal spaces here again. You have to make that line a little bit longer. I'm going to use the same distance as the line we've been using on the other ones. Just because 125, it'd be nice if I went 12 times 10 is 120, just to divide that out. And then basically I got to go to the whole next whole number. So go to 15. It's just easier to count and divide by 5s or 10s. So 12 times 15 is 180. I'm going to draw that line, and again we're just going to mark this out. Again, you can measure up this line as well and try to divide that. You can split that in half, split it in half again, and work through it that way. And that works, it's fine, there's nothing wrong with that. It's sometimes a little more fiddly. This always just seems to work just fine. Okay, let's draw these out for this pattern. This is the only pattern we're going to do here. We're not going to do a branch, or we're not doing a pattern for the main elbow. Already done that on the last one, and then our last project we'll make one out of cardboard. And this will be enough to get us going on our shop project, because this is what our shop project looks like, but obviously our shop project's a lot bigger. So I think it's almost a 1 foot diameter elbow. You'll have a branch on it with a pipe flange. Okay, good enough. Okay, let's do the seam at number 1 because it's the shortest. We're not rotating or doing anything here, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 6, 5. Okay, so all these little dots here, we're just going to bring them up. Okay, so where the 1 hits the 1 line, and the 2 and the 3 and so on and so forth. Okay, so we got the 1 here, 1 there. There'll be 2 of each. All the way over for this number 4 here. Don't get confused on that other center line coming up here. We can do a hole pattern for this as well. It'll be the same as the other one, but again, generally we don't do a hole pattern. Just stick the branch on and trace around it. Well, 6 and 7 are pretty close there. Alright, let's get out our snake. Got the correct side here. Again, just try to be as fussy as possible here. This is what makes your shape. T-square is falling off the table here. Right there. Okay, there's a branch. Let's mark it up, identify it. Again, this just comes off this sheet here, so let's go ahead and put your name, date, call this a round round branch on elbow. Drawing number 8. Let's put some center lines on here. The 7 will be center. Put some quarter marks on here. 4 is there, going to be our quarters. Always important to do this. Lay these out because it just makes everything easier to line up when everything's got a center line. I'm not guessing where center is or trying to figure that out later on. There's shearing. We're burning. And once you're done, you can print off the pattern and you can just double check that fits there. That's good. There's number 8.